I'm GC Smith, and if you play Blue-Red or Pod in Modern, I hope you have your tissue box ready, because today I've got some very bad news for you. Today, Wizards announced their new banned and restricted list update for Modern, Legacy and Vintage, and there's been a bit of a shock for certain few players out there. Mostly, the list is kind of as predicted, but there is one big standout banned card that I certainly didn't expect to see. So let's get right into it as we discuss the new changes to Magic the Gathering. Modern saw the banning of Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise and Birthing Pod, while Golgari Grave-Troll got unbanned. So, really, mostly as expected, or people predicted, Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time were both kind of being massively predicted as being banned. Treasure Cruise more than Dig Through Time, really, because Treasure Cruise really did become a one-mana draw 3 cards in the Blue-Red Delver decks, because, you know, they're casting so many burn spells or counter spells or so many tempo spell gains that really they're 1 to 3, just a silly amount of card draw for Blue-Red Delver decks. However, I kind of thought Dig Through Time might slip through the cracks, mostly because it's only drawing 2. I mean, yeah, it's the best 2 in your top 7, but that extra blue really does actually matter quite a lot in a format like Modern, where you want to be using the card draw to actually draw, you know, cast as many spells straight after. But I do see Wizards' reasoning that if you ban one, you kind of need to ban the other. But there is a lot of good card draw spells in Modern, so I don't know. Definitely Treasure Cruise needs to be banned. Not so sure about how I feel about Dig Through Time being banned, but hey, that's it. You know, that's how it is. Bans needed to be made, definitely, for the amount of card draw. So, good one there, Wizards. However, Birthing Pod being banned, their excuse is, well, it's won a lot of the tournaments. Well, so? Decks rise and fall in popularity. Winning a tournament should not be the metric by which a card is banned. Unless you mean like, well, it's won so many tournaments, we must positively ban it. Look, I'm not saying the Pod deck was very reliable and one of the best creature-based strategy decks out there, but you're in a format where combo is possible, storm is possible. You know, they're not very great decks, but they exist, Reanimator exists, and all these other strategies exist in the format. And you can't really expect creatures there to sit there and go, well, you're doing this crazy thing, you're doing this crazy thing, and I'm just drawing and playing fair Magic. Well, I guess they can expect it, but I don't know. Birthing Pod, like, you know, everyone thought it would get banned last year, and it didn't. And I was like, yes, see, not getting banned. Then it gets banned this year. Still, I was right. It took a year for it to be banned over when everyone else said it would, because it was last February everyone was talking about it getting banned, and instead we got Bitter Blossom unbanned. That did nothing. So, well, I'm definitely interested to see how this changes the format. A lot of friends I know didn't play Pod anyway, but for all of you who did, I feel really sorry for you. It's not a card I expected to see banned. And really, it does change how decks play. You can't have this kind of toolbox deck anymore. You now have to go, well, I'm playing 4 copies of this, or 3 copies of this. You can't really go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Actually, now that I think of it, Jund, Vox, Abzan, all these other decks kind of had to run 4 copies of things, and you guys only had to run 1 copy of each? Yeah, okay, I can see why it got banned now. Nah, not really. I don't really think it was a thick card that needs to be banned, but hey, it shakes up the format, even though it's a theoretically eternal format, so it shouldn't be shaken up so much. I don't know. It's an interesting ban. Definitely going to change the format, as I say, and guess there's nothing more to say about it than that. Then there's Golgari Grave-Troll, the kind of card I have no idea why it's such a big talked about. I want it unbanned. I think it should stay banned. That's basically what I've heard from a lot of people. Yeah, Dredge 6 is very powerful. I agree. For Reanimator strategies, Dredge strategies, Graveyard-based strategies, Dredge 6 is powerful. However, we have plenty of hate currently in the format. Cards like Rest in Peace, Bajuka Bog. I think Bajuka Bog's legal in Modern. Anyway, cards like Rest in Peace, Tormod's Crypt, and various other cards, and Athenza and all those kind of cards that are being printed now, really do hate on graveyard strategies. So Dredge 6, I don't think that's bad. It's basically against a lot of decks, exile 6 cards instead of drawing 1. And against a few decks it works. Well, again, yeah, don't see this as a bad card at all. I mean, okay, it's a hard creature to kill in Modern, reanimating endlessly. Seriously, endless regeneration because of, hey, remove a counter, regenerate, remove a counter, regenerate, remove a counter, regenerate. Although they do have to pay one, so as long as you have enough kill spells, you will eventually kill it. But again, yeah, as I said, the strategy really is shut down by things like Rest in Peace and stuff, so I'm not particularly worried about this card being unbanned. Now, moving on to Legacy, a format I kind of actually know a bit more about than Modern because of the Star City Opens and not enough Modern events to watch, and I've never really been that interested in Modern. Treasure Cruise is banned, while World Gorger Dragon is no longer banned. Well, the Treasure Cruise ban is a bit weird, but, I don't know. The fact that cards like Ancestral Visions are banned in Modern, but not Legacy, makes me really wonder why Treasure Cruise is banned in Legacy. Yes, it's a powerful draw spell, and yes, it has put Blue-Red Delver back on the map, but it's kind of allowed Blue-Red Delver to actually win matchups that were completely unwinnable for it after a certain amount of time. So, yeah, I'm not really sure how it is. I mean, I don't think it's changed the amount of Blue-Red Delver that has seen play at tournaments. Watching Star City Opens, I keep seeing Blue-Red Delver anyway. Although I guess I haven't seen that much of Shardless Bug, or of other decks like Deathblade and stuff. So maybe it has changed the format a bit too much. Cards like the removal of Treasure Cruise and the lack of card draw now that Jeskai, the Blue-Red Delver or Jeskai Delver have really allows Deathblade and other strategies to return, I guess. So, you know, it could be a good banning for Modern. It could be a bad banning, good banning for Legacy or bad banning for Legacy. I'm not really sure where it's going to see effectiveness yet. And World Gorge Dragon, I have literally no idea what that will do. Apparently it's something to do with, it was banned due to, like, the reanimating thing. Because, like, you'd reanimate it, it would enter play, exile everything, and then you'd return it back straight away. And I have no idea why that kind of stuff would matter. I guess it's because you could keep choosing it and get benefits when you're exiling stuff and returning them to play. I guess it's because you have Enter the Battlefield effects, maybe. I'm not really sure about this. But they've already said, like, well, Gristlebrand's here, and you're already drawing, like, 14 cards a turn when you're playing Gristlebrand, so this really isn't that big a problem. But then on that basis, they're banning Treasure Cruise. Surely they should ban Gristlebrand for the same kind of card draw power. I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to do to the format. So, yeah, that's Legacy. And then Vintage Treasure Cruise is restricted, while Gifts Ungiven is no longer restricted. Now, Treasure Cruise, again, is stupidly powerful in a lot of formats. 1 mana draw 3, power 9, kind of power in Legacy, I guess, or Vintage. You know, when you have the ability to cast so many spells a turn to just draw 3 for 1, it basically does become Ancestral Recall. So, yeah, power 9 are restricted. Treasure Cruise should become restricted on that basis as well, I guess. And Gifts Ungiven are no longer restricted. Now, I'm kind of sure about I know the power of Gifts Ungiven. It's incredibly powerful for the combo decks and the other kind of starter decks that use it. All of which I think are combo, actually. But their excuse of, well, it hasn't seen competitive play recently, so let's unrestrict it. And I went, but maybe the reason it's not seen play a lot is because it's restricted. And by unrestricting it, you're just going to cause the problem you kind of wanted to avoid by restricting it in the first place. Who knows? I guess they kind of have to do the experiment to see. And they kind of go, let's restrict it again at the next ban and restricted update. But yeah, we'll see then, I guess. So on a whole, a lot of changes. Treasure Cruise banning, unsurprising in Modern, a little surprising in Legacy. Its restriction, not at all surprising in Vintage. Although actually, to be fair, yeah, it does eventually become power 9. And again, Legacy has a lot of cantrips. So yeah, okay, banning in Legacy makes complete sense. It's effectively a power 9 card in that format, especially if you're not a graveyard interaction deck. Like, oh, Brainstorm, Brainstorm, Brainstorm. Force of Will. Actually, can't Force of Will. Yeah, Force of Will, exiling a card. Yay! Look, I've now got 8 cards in my library, in my graveyard. Treasure Cruise for 1, or 7 cards in my graveyard. Yeah. Yeah, I can see why it's got banned. So on the whole, yeah, I think the Treasure Cruise banning and restriction in every format, apart from Standard, definitely necessary. Or I can at least see why they did it. Dig Through Time, a little more surprising, considering it's not been touched in any of the other formats, and if it was as powerful as Treasure Cruise, it probably would be seen banning in Legacy. And Birthing Pod, definitely surprised to see that banned. It's interesting how they want to force the kind of creature decks to play fair. Though it's not as if they've lost all their tools. They still have cards, access to cards like Court of Calling. So yeah, I can imagine the decks are going to rely more on cards like that moving on in future. And, I mean, at least it will allow certain other creature-based decks to thrive, because you can no longer just run one of every answer to any deck in the format in your 75. You now actually have to roll multiple copies to ensure you draw them. So yeah, that's the changes to the banned and restricted list. I will put the link to the list in the description below the video to prove to you what I've been saying. I know some of you may not be interested in listening to my random musings, whatever, but hopefully what I said was informative. Yeah, I'll go with informative and enjoyable. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you will like the video and comment below what you agree with the banned restriction list, what's your opinion of the banned restriction list, how upset are you with Wizards, how many of you are going to quit the game? I already know you're not going to, because no one ever does. So yeah, comment below, subscribe, like, share, wait for my more videos, and I'll see you next time.